Welcome to the Game Corner, another video game podcast. My name is Harrison. You might know me online as Urix, and I'm joined, as always, by my friends and co-hosts.
Rowan, you might know me as Mocha, stressing out about the first CP local this weekend, and joined by...
And this is Sheldon. You probably know me as Captain Yanova.
That was a thing that we didn't talk about before this.
Yeah, I kind of realized
Locals.
that, like, while you're restarting your computer. Yeah, it's kind of a big deal, I guess. I also have a music festival this weekend, so it's going to be kind of hard to juggle that, but I'm going to try to figure it out.
Music
What a
fest?
fun
What
thing.
kind of music fest you got?
Yeah. It's called Shaky Knees. There's a whole bunch of... I'm going to see the Killers, but, like, that's...
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Is it
there's
in
a whole bunch of
Atlanta?
good
Or?
ones. Yeah, it's actually like a 10-minute walk from my house, so I'm pretty hyped
nice.
for it.
I wish I would have known about that. I would have loved to see like the Killers and all that. Been great.
Yeah, it's actually, Google it. I mean, I think they're out of tickets at this point, but they do it every
Probably.
year. Like, Google it up. Y'all should come for a music fest.
I'm actually coming down there for the Marvelous 3 concert. My wife was super excited about that, so it's at the Tabernacle.
Oh, yeah, the
Wait.
tab is amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
you guys should.
isn't Atlanta like a big music?
It's a massive
It is.
place. Yeah.
That's the thing? Okay.
Actually, it's kind of a problem because half our music festivals get shut down now because you're no longer allowed to ban guns in public places, and nobody wants to perform where they can get
Wait,
shot. So
hold on. That sounds like a Florida thing. You are north of us. You're supposed to be a little better than us.
in every way that the city can overpower the state. But we are
That's
we
fair.
are off topic now.
Yeah, welcome to our Pokemon-centric podcast.
The politics of music. No, we're talking about video games.
Well, hey, it's convenient because, like we said last week, like we said before this recording, we have not a whole lot to talk about because Pokemon is in a dry season right now, except for all the things that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, season's a bit of a harsh statement. Like, there's stuff about like happening and that it's about to happen, but like
A
2
season
weeks.
as in like 2 weeks. Yeah,
it's like-
a
it's like
2-week drought.
Yeah, it's like halftime or something. You know, you got
yeah.
it's just a break. Like, just take a step back and breathe.
It's kind of
But
crazy,
really-
like how just intense it was for a while. Like every week there was something. Every week or two there was something for like over a month
It was
or
a
two.
lot. It was a lot.
And there are people who have made it to every single regional plus internats, or every single regional within the country plus internats. Like they've just done the gauntlet. I think Paul Chua was like probably the most prominent person who did every single one that he could go to.
Wasn't Joe
wild.
UX9 up there too?
Joe's up there.
He
Yeah,
always is.
He always does, yeah.
Yeah.
So, anywho, I think for this episode, listeners, you've seen already the timestamps below us, so you know how long it is. I don't know how long it's going to be, but we have a little bit of Pokemon to talk about, and then we're going to go way off topic. Not as off topic as we literally just were, but off topic again, but this time on purpose.
But you never
at
know.
the
Like, we can
end
go
of the
wherever.
episode.
We just go with the flow, man. See where it takes us.
That's true. So, locals.
Yeah.
You have locals coming up.
It's gonna be good. It's actually best of 3 open sheets, so all the stuff I was
Missing in
complaining
GCs,
about
yeah.
last weekend was or last week is not going to be there. Pretty hyped for it. Turns out that Toller Webb is goes to my old undergrad college, which is down the street. So
Nice.
I was hoping to not have to play anyone like that top tier,
Anyone
but also
with a
Rich
name,
is
yeah.
here and he made top 8 at the last regional we were at. So
True.
yeah, it's gonna be challenging, and these things give CP. So anyone who is good and is in your region, they are gonna find it on the locator, and they're gonna go. Like, don't think that you're gonna get easy points unless you happen to live like truly in the middle of nowhere and happen to have a professor nearby.
Yeah.
And like
It's
at
gonna
least
be-
4 people to play with. Like,
Yeah.
It's gonna be a scene. Like I'm pretty excited to see what comes out of locals coming back. Right, so we're recording this beginning of May, which is the first, or like I think May 1st was the first day that locals could actually happen and give CP. Gotta clarify that for VGC, which is very exciting. I know Florida has one coming up on the 13th, so the second weekend.
You going?
I think I'm gonna miss it because I didn't realize we had tickets for a show that day.
A daytime show?
It's like, so I was wondering how likely, like, if there's an evening show, could I like go at least for the beginning of the local? But it's like local at 1, show is at 3,
oh,
so that's really
Yeah.
tough. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sad. Might show up to say hi just because I know some people in the area, but like I won't be able to play. I'm very sad. I was looking forward to it.
there'll be
So
more
the next
though.
one, Yeah,
There will hopefully be
there'll
more, yeah. And the way it works is you only get CP for your top 2 performances.
Yes.
Same as the GCs. So like you don't miss out by not going to every single one. I mean, like in theory, maybe the one you missed was the one you get your performance at, but like you can always make it up.
Yep.
I know. Like we're talking about professors and whatnot. Like Florida has at least 2, I think, professors who are in the Florida Discord and organizing.
The issue
events.
is that Florida is quite large, and like a Florida
is.
local could be in like Gainesville or Miami, right? And there's a very large difference between those two.
Even so, I'm in Central Florida. I'm pretty close to Orlando, and that's where the local's going to be, which is very convenient.
That is very lucky, yeah.
But then, like, honestly, to go to Gainesville or to go to Miami, which is like the 2 other places where there'll likely be locals, that's like still a 3-hour drive minimum. And I'm like,
Miami's a lot longer than 3 hours from you. Yeah, like the so I'm gonna say, I was listening to Tub Takes, and they were saying that apparently they're advising against having locals at colleges now, so Gainesville may not happen.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what the reasoning is, because like there's so many new college kids who probably started playing with, if not Swish, then with Scarlet and Violet, and
that still seems like the ideal like.
But I don't know about y'all in college. Like I didn't get a card till like the very end, which barely like, and then it broke immediately. Like I didn't leave campus unless I had to. So
no, I had a card the whole time.
Lucky you, yeah.
Yeah.
No, if I couldn't walk to somewhere, I wasn't doing it. So like I feel like they're giving up a lot of young, excited talent for it.
Yeah, that's a rough thing. Who was it that said that?
It was on Tub Takes. So like Audie and his whole gang.
Okay.
Generally, just a lot of people who are really, really, really good at VGC.
Oh, wonder what that's like.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I mean, we'll see as more and more of them, come up, and we get, social media will blow up about it, right? Of like, oh my gosh, we had a local over in Alabama.
It's going to be cool because people will publish their teams. They'll probably be a lot more relaxed about it unless they're planning to run it at a regional or something, right? So, and even if they aren't relaxed, I think they do have to publish it in some form, like at least the open team sheet.
The open team sheet,
yeah.
So like we're gonna get a lot of cool just like developments in the meta hopefully from it too. And I gotta tell you, Palance is not going away. I played in the Victory Road April challenge. I was doing well at the beginning. It eventually fell off, but I played my first 5 when I went 4-1. My first 5 rounds was every single one was a Palance mirror, and the rounds 2 through 5 were all Agatti's team exactly.
Oh really?
Like they just took the rental and ran it. And like a couple of like high tier players in there as well. Like Fede was the one I lost to, and then I forget, there was one decent person I beat too. But like exactly that pace. Like people are just seeing like this core is still really, really good, and I really want someone to break it because I'm playing it too. And if it's open team sheet best of 3, that's what I'm running. Like I have my own
sense. Makes sense.
I have my own variant
sheet
of it, but.
You were playing with like EVs and spreads and the numbers part of it, right?
Yeah, and that's cool to me. To me, like, and that's cool to everyone who's like just a sweaty no-lifing the game. But like, it's not exciting from an outside perspective. And even for me, like I'm a little over it too, right? Like, okay, maybe someone will make a slightly faster Flutter main than mine that like does better in some matchup or something. But that, I don't know. I'm a little bored too.
There's some comfort to me.
Another Orthworm kind of moment, right?
We need it.
Yeah. I think there's some comfort, like, at least to me, if my team just kind of works through a whole season. And that way I don't have to worry about, like, oh my gosh, I had to come up with a whole new...
And it does reward skill. I do like that, but I don't know. I like seeing things evolve, and I think that's one of the coolest thing about long-running formats is that when the rules have not changed at all, you could run this team 6 months in on day 1 if you had been smart enough to, but no one could ever predict what would end up being the best. And like we're running totally different teams 6 months in.
It's neat because I mean we have the Series 12, right? Like all stale meta, right? Big air quotes in that. But like you said, like
it never staled.
I don't think
people got bored of it, but it was evolving through Worlds. The only reason it stopped evolving was because Worlds was over and they did Series 13.
Well, Series 13, yes, that was silly.
I mean, it wouldn't have changed even if they stuck to 12
Right.
because no one cared anymore. But like,
Yeah.
as long as there's competition going on, people are going to find new stuff. By the end of it, people were running like no
But it's
special
not as
attack investment.
fast. That's the thing, right?
What do you mean by
like
not as fast?
because it like even right now, like we're seeing Palance is everywhere, right? Which is I feel like it's been months of Palance. I know that's certainly not the case, right?
Oh, but since day one of regulation
like
C, it's
close-
been Palance. Like the Fort Wayne was literally day one, and it was won by Palance.
That would explain that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I
So
mean,
it has
it
actually been-
was Tang's like hyper offensive version with Chen Pao, but like and Dragapult, which is awesome, but like
So even more so then, like the we've had that same core prevalent throughout.
yeah, and
and
it wasn't
even
bad
more
in
so
Series 2
now.
either.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it wasn't as dominant in Series 2 because Ting Lu really adds something to it, and yeah,
A five core mon is a five mon core.
It's pretty crazy. Like I think a lot of people
It's
get
like
upset.
chalk.
Yeah, people get upset about this comparison because they. Okay, so a lot of casual players use chalk as like an insult to competitive, and like, oh, like everybody uses the same stuff, and so the second chalk gets brought up, people start getting defensive about it, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
you chalk was a real moment. It wasn't the whole. I think this is actually more intense than chalk was, because chalk was only famous because it dominated a single tournament, right? Like, it was insane that it dominated to that degree, but like if you go below the top 8 or 16 or 32 or one of those, like it became diverse after that, and people outside of that tournament were playing other
Right.
archetypes. Palance is dominating like almost
Everything.
everything now, and I think like
Ladder,
like the age of the
every
internet
tournament.
has kind of like exacerbated that a lot. Like
Sure.
it's just so easy to get information and like resources now.
So does that mean Palance is going to be an even bigger insult than chalk?
Honestly, maybe
Just wait till we get
just because of
Incineroar,
the-
baby.
Just because of the acronym, and people are gonna just be able to like use FAP as like a thing for people to like just grinding away on Showdown. I don't know, man. Like it's. I don't think it's necessarily the worst because it does allow skill expression, but I don't think it's good for spectators.
Yeah.
I think that's very fair. I think that's
It's for experienced spectators, I guess, is a way to look at it. It's like if you understand
There's a
the
limited
game,
number of those, right?
yes,
Like, there's
yeah.
a reason
It-
that
it's not the
Wolfie
majority.
does-
It is the minority of
Yeah.
what
that,
the
that does
viewing-
equate to players most of the time.
Yeah.
There's a reason Wolfie does like wacky stuff with big bright colored infographics on everything anytime he gets like marginally casual, anytime he gets marginally technical, and it's because the vast majority of the Pokemon audience that you actually want to capture is not super into VGC. They're not sweaty.
Yes.
They just want to
Yeah.
have fun with it, and I think that's totally valid. I've only started to appreciate like spreads being like a really cool thing to like unique spreads being a cool thing in the past like year or so. The first like we got started in the pandemic for 2020 and most of 2021 was just like, I want to see something wacky on your team. I want to see an Electivire or like something that doesn't show up normally and is cool. And I think that's what most people do, and I still think it's fun even now.
Sure. I mean that's the whole point of like the Malamar
Yeah,
league
games.
games.
It's a
Squid Games.
Okay, it is a Squid Games pun.
Yeah, the Malamar
Malamar's a
league.
squid. Right.
Love you, Bruno.
Malamar Championships.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of that, yeah, I got my video up for the match against Sierra, and then I played against Marcus Dion recently. Got a video up for that, or that one is not up yet. Will be soon. Yeah, so it's been cool. The theme was all weakness policies.
Wild to me.
Yeah, every mon had a weakness policy on it. So you're just like, everything is just made a little bulkier than you think it's gonna be, and you think you get the Yoko, and I was like, nope, you didn't, and now it's +2.
That was fun in Dynamax too.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. Oh, that they did run this format in like the last Malamar. Oh, you were there, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
God, wild.
Yeah, I can see Dynamax being a good format for that. I can see Terra being interesting, but
Terra's very interesting because you don't know how anyone's gonna proc anything.
yeah. You got
I,
options.
yeah.
Change it to anything. Yeah.
Spoiler. I did an extra exhibition against Pengy. He procced his Dozo by going Terra Electric on it, and then clicking Bulldoze with his Clodsire.
Okay,
Very nice.
sure.
And like both of them are unaware, so they don't care about your own weakness policy procs.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of clever stuff you can do with that. I actually do really enjoy that league for that. It's like it really tests people's ability to like
To team build in really
yeah.
unique ways.
Yeah, you have to like recognize what the new meta is that you're only going to use for 1 week and you've never played in before.
Right. Bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you for muting.
Yeah,
I'll have to go find that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's super cool, and stuff like the Malamar games. Dang it! That time it wasn't on purpose. The Malamar games keeps things fresh in the community, which is really nice.
Yeah, I think we need more of that, to be honest. Like,
2-week droughts.
Yeah. It's wild that it's only just just Bruno that's doing it too. I'm surprised other people haven't adopted it.
yeah, it seems like a really like low hanging fruit for something to try. And apparently all of us got started in Sword and Shield, so we didn't experience this. But when I heard there were like theme weekends in Sun and Moon, where like they would have like online ladder competition, maybe not even ladder. I don't think there was a ladder, but like there would be some kind of online battle competitions that were like officially sponsored, where there was some restriction on it. I don't think they got as wacky as the Malamar themes, but like
They did some of that in Sword and Shield too, though. For you had the Magikarp.
yeah, you have to force to have a Magikarp on your team.
Yeah,
and,
so they tried a little bit in Sword
like
and Shield.
Wolf actually Dynamaxed it and used Splash to max guard. Like
Yeah.
That's very good. Another cool thing that happened this past weekend, Salty Dolphin, who is a Pokemon and some other franchise, I think Mario, like speedrunner, like challenge run person, recently got into VGC, like has gone like competitions and whatnot, Orlando and Knoxville at least, I think. He organized a raid roulette tournament. So it was like it was invitational for like streamers of VGC and whatnot. And the rules, my understanding of them, because I didn't actually watch the whole thing, I saw just bits and pieces, and I saw on Twitter. But the theme there was you pick 6 raid dens on the map, and you go make a team out of those 6 Pokemon, and you have like 3 hours to do it. It was like all streamed,
that's
right?
dope. Did you have to like EV them all and everything? Like,
yeah,
on stream?
you did everything on stream,
awful.
which is
Okay.
cool.
No, I hate that.
Yeah, you don't stream, so of course you hate that.
I don't care about the stream. I hate that you have to build everything manually in 3 hours.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
It was something like that. Like,
yeah,
like, that's
that
my
is the
understanding
least
of
interesting
it.
part of Pokemon. But it is a cool challenge. I take your point.
Yeah, and then they had a whole like I think it was like an 8-person like bracket to play through that. And I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think some people like Wolfie and all do that. They did have like 20 minutes in Sword and Shield to go catch a team of 6, or like they had one of the like wild areas they could go to.
I figured that you'd like
Some-
get the Mons that way, but then you could gen up your team as you wanted it, like using those Mons.
That would be the nice way to do it.
That would be the way to get.
That is the only
pitch-
way I'd consider doing
That's
it.
that's when all the
Personally, but I'm not Wolfie, so-
casuals get the pitchforks and come
Yeah,
climbing out of it.
now.
Yeah.
by all means, come to my house.
So anyway, this is where we do want to have a disclaimer. The Game Corner is vehemently against genning. It is no, just kidding.
It is not. I will gen something just to annoy you.
Yes.
Genning is healthy.
Very healthy.
It allows for things to change fast. Like, look at Palance. Anywho, so beyond all that stuff, we have the GC is this weekend,
Yeah.
which is going to be fun. Are y'all participating?
I'm gonna
I have not
try
signed up yet.
between that music festival and the local. I'm gonna have a hard time. I seem to always
Sure.
have plans on these weekends.
Maybe if I actually get signed up. Like last time too, I tried to sign up and I forgot. I was slapping together a team real fast, and
You were a minute late.
yes, I was 1 minute late. I hit.
Oh my god.
I hit like accept or whatever, or submit my team, and then it kicked me out, and it
Yep.
wouldn't let me sign up. I was like, "Are you?"
I
was
did the same thing with my wife.
I was in the sign up phase. I was like because it's got like all the I acknowledge
check
buttons.
boxes. Yeah,
Yeah,
just-
there's so many.
Do it once, you're good. I still acknowledge this. I still
Yeah.
agree to play online or whatever.
And here I am, like in a rush trying to do it, and like so, like I hit submit the first time, and like 2 Pokemon have the same item. because I was just grabbing. I was just grabbing stuff out of my
no.
box. And I was like,
sucks.
no, what do I do?
That's funny.
Yeah, I did actually manage to get the 10 points. I thought that they had like changed the requirements up.
When you posted that, I was like, yeah, wow, it's so cool. He's got 100. 1/3 of the way there, baby.
1/3, yeah. No, it's gonna need some big performances to pull that up in time. But the good news is that if you yeah, right, there you go.
Just hit the win
Actually,
button.
you don't even need to. Like, I think like, you can get like well over 100 in just one spell swoop at an AIC if you do like
Just
decently.
hit the do well button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The good news is that you should still buy your tickets to Japan because if you don't make Worlds, there is a
Not invitational. The
it's not
Isn't
even a
it last chance?
They used
It's
to call it a
open.
last chance qualifier because it used
Yeah.
to be that you could get into Worlds if you did really, really well at the
Sure.
tournament there. But now it's just a tournament at the international level.
yeah.
Which counts for the
So
next season, right?
And you get
Yeah, so the
international
2024
level
season.
CP as you roll into
So
the next
you can
season.
get it. So yeah. Oh, you might not made Worlds this year, but now you have a
Still
head
go to
start.
Japan. Still have a fun
Yeah.
time and like
Yeah,
get a head
I-
start on the next season.
It's tempting, and I want to try and make it work.
Yeah. Do you have a
Somehow.
katana behind you?
No? No. I do have a katana. I got that as a gift. It's like a display katana. I wanted to try and play Fruit Ninja in real life with it. It didn't work.
Okay.
I got one of those somewhere from when I was a kid.
It is actually bent.
Oh,
Like
I
at
thought
the-
they were
at-
like
at- at the
indestructible or
hilt.
something. It was just false advertising.
Did you?
A full Tang one would be.
Sounds
not
like
indestructible,
sounds
but-
like you cheaped out on your katana. I don't know.
I said
Right?
gift. Someone else put that on it.
Should
I've
send
got a
that-
bunch of random crap behind me. If you only
Send
just
that-
now started to look at it. I've got what is it? A bunch of pop figures. I got an EV Switch. I got
Did you ever unbox
3D
it? Is that
printed Pokemon.
like an empty box or do you use
No,
it?
that's the
Is the
Switch is
EV
somewhere.
Okay.
I was gonna try making my Genin Switch. That doesn't have the exploit on it.
Gotcha.
The legs of Lego Optimus Prime is right there.
Nice.
Anyway, all my D&D stuff is like right there, or Pathfinder too, whatever. Anywho, yeah, that's a bunch of stuff behind my camera. Please. That's So this is a really good point. If you're listening on an audio-only platform, I'm sorry.
Just imagine. Just use your imagination. Yeah.
Just imagine that I'm a nerd and I got a bunch of nerd stuff behind me.
Hundreds of swords. It's honestly kind of wild. Believe me.
No, one sword, a green screen, and a machete. Anywho, okay.
Yeah. I think that might wrap it up for Pokemon. Honestly, I can't think of anything.
Raids
else.
are happening. We're gonna get Sobble here in a moment. My camera's really upset. No.
Inteleon.
Inteleon was last weekend. Ice type
Yeah.
Inteleon. That's probably coming back. I think. I don't know when.
At some point it will.
Walking Wake and Iron Leaves are back.
Oh, they're
in the
coming
game.
back? Okay.
I think they're back right now.
Okay. I actually never managed to get that. Every time I joined people, I got matched
Joining
with some
sucks.
interesting folks. Yeah. Or hosting. It didn't go well
Yeah.
either way.
Sorry.
So,
Online
yeah,
sucks.
Yeah.
I'm not I don't really like the new kinds of raids, but
It was
even
bad enough in Sword and Shield. Like
when
this
it was
is
still
way
the
worse.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's weird, right? Like, so they tried to do good by online like connectivity and like, oh, we'll just make it asynchronous. But like, it's asynchronous. There are still distinct turns,
Yes.
and it just doesn't say what they are. I'm really upset by my camera right now. I'm sorry. I'm trying not
You
to.
need to have a talking to with it.
Don't you have like a fancy nice one too?
I mean, it's a Razer or whatever Razer's like expensive webcam is. I want to get a mirrorless, but that's money.
That's a lot of money for a camera.
A
Or-
cheap one, a cheap okay one, good one is like 600.
That's still a lot.
Sony EV1 or 10, whatever.
That's still a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I got a lot of tech guy. Sits on top of my monitor.
Yeah,
It's doing
and
great.
it's somehow
I got my Brio, and I'm happy with that thing.
the Brio's nice. Like mine is the same like whatever tier as the Brio. Anyway, wow, we are super on topic today. Hey, I came
What's the
back
topic?
for a moment.
Stop moving.
I wasn't moving.
Stay
that
perfectly
much.
still.
Yes.
Just freeze frame. There we go. We're good. Came back. I think it was focused on my mic, which is in front of me.
You
That's
just put a still picture of you on the where your
Do you have a
video should be
cardboard
now.
cutout of yourself?
doesn't everyone? Mine's in the shop.
Oh.
Yeah, take that one and let that one sink in.
It's getting a haircut.
So, Pokemon is done. We're done with Pokemon. There's no more Pokemon to talk about. You know what there is to talk about, though?
Game of the year.
Game of the year.
I know it's not out yet. I'm already calling it. I don't think.
No,
it's
gonna
easily.
be.
What could compete with it?
We were talking about Tears of the Kingdom. We were talking about the new Zelda game.
The Legend of Zelda.
We were talking about the best game of this year and probably the last 5 years.
So the problem that I know I'm going to have, right? So I'm bringing Pokemon back for a moment. Pokemon's coming back into the room. Hartford is like the week after this game comes out.
Oh,
I have
something.
not started heavily preparing for Hartford yet. I have
you're
like
not.
2 weeks until the game comes out, or Tears of the Kingdom. I
better start
don't
building,
know
man.
how I'm going to do this. Yeah, this is going to suck.
I can send you what I'm working with right now, but
I mean, I'll take it.
I'm using
page
Grass
you sent me.
Palafin. You might be happy to know.
I'm already invested. Grass Palafin is actually
with a punching glove.
the goat.
Oh,
And but it is fast, so you're gonna have to deal with that.
Oh, I don't like fast Palafin.
Well,
I like
So-
bulky Palafin.
well, it's medium, but the issue with being slow Palafin and Terra Grass is that Arcanine can now kill you.
Yeah, if you. Yeah. Balance is there. Okay, fair enough. That's probably a need. Arcanine can kill you if you don't jet punch it.
If you're at
If
-1, you won't kill it,
Oh.
and then it will flare blitz you and you will die.
Bring Pelipper. Easy.
Yeah, you can bring Pelipper.
Yeah. Just
People are not really running Rain, but it is
put
doable.
Pelipper in that dragon.
Then you're gonna need a
slot
different
for
team, though.
Palance.
Pelipper is
true.
kind of like a dragon. It can be a dragon if you want it to be a dragon.
Yeah, anything's a dragon. All right, so Tears of the Kingdom's coming out. We
Yeah.
are.
Yes.
Pokemon's now leaving the room. What have you guys seen for Tears of the Kingdom? We're now entering Tears of the Kingdom hype half of the episode.
Yeah, I have seen all of the stuff that's come out so far, but only once. I'm not like one of the crazy people who've like
That watches
analyzed
it over.
Yeah.
Have you watched any of the analyzing videos? Like, cause I've watched like one or two, I think, and like it's very interesting. Like, I don't know.
The people who have like mapped it to the map of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
right? Like
It's so
'cause
cool.
it is the same map with the time difference, which I think is really cool. I think that's like
It's in depth.
super great attention to detail on like Nintendo's part, and it gives so much ammo to the crazy
lore.
folks who are super
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
it.
I love lore and stuff like that. So like, I just feed into all that kind of stuff. Like, I love it.
And I'm sorry. In the past, I have made fun of Zelda lords because like there wasn't really a continuous Zelda lore. People are like desperately trying.
The timeline is
people trying to
something
piece together a
crazy.
timeline. They just look like Charlie from Always Sunny in like the meme
The one
scene,
meme
right?
of, like-
Where he's like
Well, you got
putting stuff
all
on the
the-
wall and his eyes have dark circles.
Yeah,
underneath.
there's-
Yeah.
well,
No,
this line
that's
leads over
exactly how I
here.
see Zelda lore experts. But Breath of the Wild has like actually established a like new continuity that they seem to be sticking with. Like they did it. They kept it for Hyrule Warriors, which was actually a great game, and they're keeping it for this too. It seems like they realize they struck gold, and people like this like version of the world a lot.
The version of the world is cool. I mean, so
No, because it's like a reset.
Quick defense of the lore people. They published an official book that has the
They did.
timeline, which is
It's three
still,
timelines.
It's
So
still crazy.
I guess that's the way you gotta think about it. It's three separate timelines.
I know that's an official book. You know, whoever published that was just exactly the same Charlie face, just piecing it together.
We gotta
They
make
did
this.
Officially.
When they made any of these games, they were not thinking about where it fit in the timeline.
that
They were
is-
like, this is what I'm doing. This is
Very-
my
very-
like something resembling a story. Shut
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, I mean, there's always like not always. There's a handful of games like Breath of the Wild, Hyrule Warriors, Tears of the Kingdom that like this family of games, same timeline.
Yeah,
right?
like Wind Waker and all the DS ones, pretty much all the ones with cell shaded Link are in the same kind of continuity as well.
Yeah. Well, it's easier. So the more modern ones, it's easy to kind of fit those in a timeline, but you have to retrofit because they didn't have a timeline like originally. You know?
Correct.
Like
Yeah.
Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are also like joint,
Yeah.
and they're in the same engine, the same as the
That-
right?
It's all the
But,
same.
Yeah, you got like that. Then you got Twilight Princess. You know, they kind of all follow the same.
Yeah.
Right.
Like they make sense when you see them.
Anyway, I am super two things, and I think they're just like the obvious low hanging fruit. But just the ridiculous scope of the world by just doubling it by having the sheer verticality.
More than
up
doubling.
and down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
up and yeah. So there's that, and then also just the building. Like, this is
Someone came up to me and was like, "How can you be excited?" One of my coworkers, "How can you be excited about Legend of Zelda Minecraft?" And I'm like, "How can you not?"
I can build a mech.
Okay. I think Minecraft
Okay,
is one of the best.
The mech is really silly though.
Yeah, I think Minecraft is
love
probably
it.
one of the best like inventions of this century. Like, as a video game, I think it's actually a masterpiece, and people
Virtual Legos are so good.
yeah, it's actually really cool. I think it's almost insulting to compare this to that because all of the pieces actually work. They do things. They are not like functionless blocks that you can place how you want.
Yeah.
Everything.
Okay, but have you seen some of the stuff that they can do in Minecraft?
If you use redstone, yes, then it's insane. Then it's literally programming. But like,
Yeah.
Outside of the redstone stuff, which you cannot put in a Zelda game, everything functions. You can put a propeller on something and it will move. You can like,
Well, I mean, yeah.
Everything
to
has
this point, like
yeah.
all of the pieces that like we're referencing for Tears of the Kingdom, like all have like a little bit more thought and process to a block of stone, right?
Right.
Which is cool. Like that's the whole point. But
Well, it cuts out like the manual steps you would have to take in something like Minecraft, because Minecraft
Sure.
you would have to like physically you would have to set up the functions for
Right.
it to work when you press this button, all this to happen. Like here it happens,
Yeah,
but it's
there's a-
intuitive.
it's going to be a sense of discovery too. It's like, I wonder what happens when I smash these two things together.
so that's the thing, right? Like they built this like physics engine, chemistry engine, whatever whatever you want to call it, right? For Breath of the Wild, and people are still like, to this day, 7 years later, being like, "Oh yeah, I just found out you can do this, this, and this, and this happened."
And part of
the
it's
stuff
buggy,
on Breath
but
of
yeah, it's
Breath
like,
of the Wild,
part of it is the
like-
bugs, but it's so cool.
It is.
Breath of the Wild has some crazy stuff that you could do in it, like just in its base form. Like what you could do in it.
Yeah. So the
As far as
open-ended-
combining the powers and
Yep.
using the like terrain and physics, it's
Yeah,
a lot of stuff.
I've seen some like really crazy videos now. People like freezing time on something and like smacking it a million times and jumping onto it, being launched across the
then
map, and then jumping off of it and shooting a Lionel at like while they're moving at Mach 10.
the stunt videos are very
Yeah,
fun to find.
Absolutely crazy.
well, it's like
yeah.
the speed run. Like you see the people speed run in that game, and they use all those, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
But this
all
is
those-
exactly what people should be doing. This is the best example of like the natural evolution of a game. Like, this is the Breath of the Wild engine. Like,
yeah.
make no mistake, it's not. I'm sure they've improved it or whatever, but it is ultimately the same engine. Like, but they have made like really logical. Like, this is the next step, and these are really novel, cool new things they did with it. They did not get lazy with this.
No,
Yeah,
they took the time.
It's
to
not
improve
just
it.
Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah,
It's-
exactly.
Right.
It's going to be the same but different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people. So
Yeah, you're going to
there's
have the
been-
essence is going to be the same there, but just everything you
Yeah.
can do is just going to be more.
It's gonna feel the same, right? You're gonna hold a controller. You're gonna control Link
Yeah.
very similarly, right? Sure. It's gonna look the same because same engine, all that fun stuff. But like all of the interactions are gonna be so much more, so many more possibilities that you can do with the pieces for the Zone Eye pieces. You can pick up like anything with Ultra Hand, not just metal pieces with Magnesis. So it's really cool. So have you guys? Did you see on like YouTube or whatever a bunch of big YouTubers, press sites, etc. They got to go play the game?
I did not know. I'm trying not to spoil myself with like actual footage.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
if
they
I
did
s-
share some of that. So don't go looking
Yeah,
there. But
I've-
they talked about it at the very least, which is really cool because people with what was like shown for the trailers and whatnot are like skeptical, but then to have all these people like come away and be like, no, the game's really freaking cool. It almost makes Breath of the Wild look like a tech demo, and like that kind of
Which-
sentiment is baffling.
Yeah.
Especially on the Switch. Like, so that's the thing that
Yeah.
blows my mind. They are literal wizards.
Let's
over
go back
there.
to Pokemon for a second.
Yes.
It is going to be impossible to not compare the just garbage fire that is Scarlet and Violet's
Yes.
performance to this.
So
It's insane. Like, even Breath of the Wild compared to Scarlet and Violet. Like, Breath of the Wild
yeah.
shouldn't
And now
run
it's
on the
5 years
Switch.
older.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
shouldn't run on the Switch. It really shouldn't. Like, it is like the way
Forget
just
the
what
Switch. It ran on the Wii U, and it I don't know if you've seen the Wii U version. It actually performs fine.
which is insane. Like, what do they do over there?
I mean,
Like,
they've often been like you said, wizards when it comes to
Yeah. Well, like
Nintendo
I
has
guess
historically been that. They've always been the people who can like make the absolute best out of the hardware. I know, like Melee.
Ocarina.
Is,
Well, you got to think Ocarina of Time. Even like
64.
Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Just those games were just incredible. for the
Ocarina
hardware.
was like proto open world on
on
that.
it really was, because
like
you could do
32-bit processor. It's actually.
I mean,
and you
even
could do
if we,
anything.
No, it's not. It wasn't 32-bit processor. It had 32 megs of RAM. That's what it was.
64 bit.
You needed the expansion card to give yourself
Yes.
64 megabytes of RAM so that you could run certain games.
that does hurt me thinking about that now.
Yeah.
But like even for like memory management and storage stuff, like Iwata pulled Wizardry for Gen 2 and
Yeah.
like fit all of Kanto, where they're like, we can maybe have a small post game. And he's like, hold my beer, and then just put a whole region in there.
Like Melee on the GameCube was always considered like really. It still looks good. It still holds up relatively well today. And there's so much stuff in there that's like the GameCube literally cannot do that. And the reason is that they just like they recognize that it was a 2D fighter, and they're like, okay, what if we make everything in the background where like a lot of these complex assets just 2D? Like what if they're just like pictures that look really nice from this angle? And you're like, yeah. And it for some reason it looks like a next gen game in a lot of cases.
There are just cool ways to save resources on stuff like that.
Yeah.
It fits for consoles, right? Like that's very actually I also had this discussion at work today of like for gaming and this kind of stuff, someone like a publisher or dev who has the knowledge and care can actually like get the most out of a known set of hardware much better than like a PC, right?
Yeah. Now, granted, like this is a lot harder these days because like, and engineer, not a game engineer, so like this is grain of salt and all that. But you generally are working with like pre-established engines. Your Breath of the Wild made their own, so maybe that's kind of why they can do these kinds of things.
Yeah, that changes a lot of it.
Yeah, but like you are working within much tighter constraints. The original Pokemon games were written in assembly. They are literal instructions for moving like bit by bit, and so it makes a lot of sense that you could optimize the absolute hell out of that. But
that's true.
It's a lot harder these days when like you are using tools built by someone else, and there's only so much those tools can do.
Well,
so like
you have Unreal, you have Unity, that which is most
BDSP
things
was a Unity game. Like it's the same thing.
forgot about
You
that.
can download
people make
Unity.
smartphone games out of.
Yeah, you can download Unity and just watch a YouTube tutorial and make a video
And
game.
make a
Just sit,
game.
like on your own. Like I mean, following a tutorial,
in a few hours.
but
yeah.
Which is cool. Like that is the neat thing about hi, we're off topic again. That's the neat thing about like software engineering and all that stuff like right now is we have a lot of support in the way of engines or libraries or yada yada yada.
But the number of people who can truly do things at a base level is actually quite low. Like most people, including myself, are
without
the
tools.
I
guess,
do a little bit of C at work, and it makes me sad. Like
I only do C and C++ right now.
I'm sorry for you.
Yeah, I'm sad. I am not a wizard. I'm like having to relearn all this stuff coming from like C# and JavaScript and other things. Like, ugh. Anywho, you've seen like all the powers that Link has. I mean,
I saw that. So like the traverse through things that looked really cool. Like through mountains and all that. Yeah. It almost seems like you could cheat a lot, but that was honestly like part of the fun of Breath of the Wild too. Like one of the things that like gave me so much weird joy was just climbing as high as I physically could. You could always find a little ledge where you could stand and regain your stamina and then just keep climbing.
That's the thing, right? There's so many of those.
Yeah, and then eventually you're at the top of the world and can glide off and can reach God knows how far away.
Yeah, that'll be really fun to see how
freedom of movement is so important in open world games.
Yeah.
I think they
truly
we're not scared of it. And that's another bad Pokemon comparison. What they did with the gliding on the mounts in Scarlet and Violet was made it once you glide past a certain distance,
you just plummet.
It's not distance,
and it was
it's time.
Time really.
Time.
Okay,
Because if you don't move and then try to move after that time, you just fall.
Yeah, so
which
like
is weird to do. Like
the reasoning is generally because they don't want people to break the game, and it usually represents a lack of faith in the stability of your game, right? It's like if we give people this much freedom, they're gonna have a very easy time busting it open.
But something like that, like, does that even really break the game?
Yeah,
like,
and yeah, exactly. You could always who cares if you cheat in the single player campaign of this game that's holding your hand so aggressively anyway? Like, yeah, it's silly, and like it. This is like the climbing and the gliding really feel like I talk about Guild Wars all the time. Like mounts are a huge part of that, and there's a mount that can climb up. It can climb up walls. Like once it latches on, it gains energy to shoot itself up again, and then it can hover past that. And then once you're at the top of something, you can get on another mount that dives and flies back up and down again, gains momentum, and like shoot across an entire map if you get enough momentum. That kind of freedom of movement feels so good. It's actually insane that it's in an MMO. Like, you generally don't think of MMOs as things with physics engines. Like Pokemon had the chance to do that. It literally is there if you use a bug. There was a bug where if you let go of the glider and turn yourself at exactly a 90-degree angle, and then start gliding again with your mount, it will just create artificial momentum forward that just shoots. You can find YouTube videos of this, and it might have been patched.
Interesting,
but there are a lot of videos of it where people can just like absolutely rocket across the Scarlet and Violet map, and like nothing breaks. It's just kind of cool.
Sure,
that's an issue though with Game Freak. Like at this point, they're very conservative in their gameplay, and I just always feel like they're just a few steps behind everyone else.
A few is really generous. If we're
yeah.
I say this with all the love in the world. I think this. I love this series to death. I will always be playing it if nothing else because of VGC, and I do get that nice burst of nostalgia playing my first run through a campaign. I'm not grinding it anymore in post game, but like I think they are really fun. But yeah, it's just going to be so hard to like look back at Swish or
the only like with Pokemon, the biggest like redeeming factor just is their like battle system. And what that is, like that whole system is what
when it works,
it's what keeps us ever like we look past everything else just because of how good.
If they replace the main battle system with Arceus's battle system, I would play it. Yeah, it would be over. I probably wouldn't even buy it.
Yeah.
Arceus had its own selling points that were really cool. The battle, it was cool. In spite of that
battle system was horrible. Like it really was. I despise that battle system.
It was neat to see them try something different. It was nice that it didn't have like there's not really a good way to do like multiplayer. Like you could, I think, do battles, but like like the fact that there was no like
you couldn't
VGC type thing for it.
You couldn't battle another human being.
It was acceptable for a single player game. It was fine, but
like
no, there's no competitive at all. No versus.
There was no versus battles.
Okay, never mind. I don't know why.
Yeah, it was Arceus was perfectly fine for what it was.
Even better,
but yeah, no, I mean,
but it was a single player campaign, like which is fine. That's what it was. But like as far as
they
brought that to like every game from now on, like I mean that would kill VGC. Like
it would kill VGC. But like the stuff they brought in for the Arceus battle system is like stuff that other like turn-based RPGs are using. Right, like similar concepts. It's like, okay, sure, that makes sense. Give it a shot.
But those are also single player games. Generally, JRPGs are not a competitive thing.
Yes.
Yeah, like I think Dragon Quest has a similar like where you could advance like get like, more attacks per turn kind of thing. Like
a triangle strategy and like all those Square Enix games of that.
Yeah.
Bravely Default, like all those have this.
They're tactical battles.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you could like pass a turn or something to get an extra turn.
But again, it's all single player stuff. Right? Like none of these guys have ever tried to do something competitive like Pokemon has. So like they can afford to do these things
because you can't really with that kind of system. It just doesn't work with.
They're designed to give you a way to think tactically, but there doesn't have to be counterplay to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because who cares if the computer loses? So back on Zelda for a second. There's one. People did have complaints about Breath of the Wild. I think they were largely overshadowed by just how amazing and novel the game was. But like, I do wonder if they're going to do things to specifically address that. I think like the biggest one, which I'm not even sure I agree with, but a lot of people didn't like the shrines, and that not that the shrines themselves were bad, but in that they replaced dungeons. People really missed the like old school Zelda like this dungeon is long and you get a new upgrade, you have to use it to get through it. And the Divine Beasts were kind of dungeons.
The Divine Beasts were the closest thing, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But they were like watered down version of
it took you 10 minutes to get through a Divine Beast generally, unless you were having trouble with like a specific puzzle.
And I feel like the nature of Breath of the Wild, like the way that game just was, made it difficult to do like these handcrafted, really nice dungeons. The shrines obviously are like one thing, right? Because they're small. Like the large dungeon that replaced this is the boomerang dungeon. You know you're gonna use the boomerang to beat this dungeon somehow, right? Like the very Zelda way, I think is a hard thing to try and capture in the way that
an open world.
Yeah, I think it's fine as long as you like make it so that the upgrade is A, accessible right before you go into that dungeon, and B, other upgrades don't trivialize it.
Yeah, and the thing is like what upgrades, right? Because they made kind of a point in Breath of the Wild to give you everything you needed for the whole game up front, right? You had every power as soon as you left the Great Plateau. So like, does that work for a dungeon or like, you know, because obviously like for the traditional Zelda stuff, you didn't.
What's the reward other than just a boss battle? I guess is what they're.
And it kind of was like it was the first major Switch game too. You have to remember, right? So like the shrines were really, they fit with the philosophy of the Switch in that you took it with you. You could play it wherever, and you're just like, I just want a bite-sized bit of content. I want to play a Zelda puzzle, and then I want to save and put it down, and that was awesome for that. Like I was playing it in bed before work for like 20 minutes every day for a while. Yeah,
no, I think that's a good point. I forgot about the whole Switch part of the Switch.
Yeah.
And I think it makes sense.
Yeah, nowadays that novelty's worn off. You can totally make games that are meant to be played on the TV the whole time, and that's okay.
And also, I guess, you know, there's some restraints because that was their first venture into it. You know, they didn't have the time they've had now.
Breath of the Wild had 7 years of development time.
It was long.
That's why it was so good.
But like what we talked about too, though, is they developed their own engine in that time. So they started at the end, you know. So you're already
this time they got to only make content.
Yeah,
for that
so
long.
you had time
to it, right? But like,
but that explains why, like to me anyway, like why the Divine Beasts were more simplistic and not, you know, full. You know, it's not the Forest Temple. It's not the Water Temple. You know, from Legend or Ocarina of Time. You know, it's.
Yeah, I don't know where I stand. I think it'd be cool to see them try that.
They don't even have to be upgrade centric, but I would like to see like this is a long slog. Dungeon. There are save points in here. You can have autosave, you can have checkpoints, whatever. But like, I want to like delve deep into something and like,
dungeon.
Exactly.
Like, and I would be fine too.
Stuff.
And I'd be fine too without that. Like if it's just story progression. Like something like that's still a reward to me. Like
the reward for the Divine Beast was, I guess they gave powers technically, and then they made Ganon weaker at the end, right? Like so something akin to that is fine. I guess. Oh, that could be it. In Tears of the Kingdom, you just get more tears. You cry more at the end.
Have you all seen Hot Ganon yet?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I would say
yeah.
Well, I'm
is he the antagonist again? Is that what we're?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's not like playable or something.
It's Ganondorf, and then I think
he's resurrected Ganondorf.
Okay.
And then like ridden with malice or whatever the evil.
Yeah, but his body, like he's back. It's not just the calamity. You know, it's not the this weird
bodiless thing of black smoke.
Yeah, that it was.
It's actually his body, so it's, you know, it kind of brings you back to Ocarina of Time. And
I just really enjoyed all of Twitter getting really thirsty for Ganon for a day.
It was really funny. So really though, the problem with this is like, can the Gerudo stop naming this male Ganon every 100 years or whatever it is? Because like, isn't that what the like he's born the Gerudo?
Every 100 years they have a male.
Does he get reincarnated, or is he just always this guy who's just like alive?
So all three of them are always like reincarnated, just an endless cycle of good versus evil.
I knew Link and Zelda were, but I wasn't sure if Ganon was just like that guy.
He's the reincarnation of Demise, or Demise's curse.
Yes, that's what it is. Not
from Skyward Sword, right? Yeah.
Yes, I think that's right.
That was the original big bad, was Demise,
and then that started the whole cycle.
Gotcha.
See, look at us being.
I actually
Lord.
Change the podcast.
I never played Skyward Sword because I did
Neither
not want to
have
mess.
I.
I did not want to mess with the motion controls.
Yeah,
They looked bad.
I think
Yeah, I
it's
don't-
better on the Switch version if you want.
I
to
have
invest
not
in
played
that.
the remaster either. That is probably a way
Yeah.
to catch
I
up.
just did not like the Wii. I'll be honest. Like I didn't like playing. Like I
Yeah.
just didn't like the controls of the. It's
know
a
what's
cool concept, but I just didn't like the controls.
Yeah, you know what's underrated? The DS ones, the train
Oh,
one,
the train,
and
the Phantom Hourglass.
Minish Cap,
Minish Cap
or
and the
whatever.
train one, both
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
No, not Minish Cap. Minish Cap.
Minish
is-
Cap was GBA.
That was yeah. It was
Oh,
Game Boy
that's
And
Advance.
also
Oh.
Capcom. Capcom made Minish Cap. It wasn't Nintendo.
What was the one before the trains?
We have
It was
Force Sword.
it was on the
Hourglass.
Phantom Hourglass. Both of those with the stylus controls were actually really
Yeah.
fun. I had
Yeah.
I enjoyed the hell out of those, and I didn't think that they would be good. And
Yep.
they were
well,
like
the
very classic Zelda. In the end of the day,
I mean, the Link's Awakening remake was good.
yeah.
It was. I haven't finished that
That
one.
was solid.
Although I think my favorite Zelda game to date is probably Link Between Worlds.
You
That
like
was
over
really
Breath of the Wild.
Sorry, pre-Switch.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Sorry, probably Breath of the Wild, then Tears of the Kingdom, then Breath of the Wild, then
I had to confirm, you know.
yeah, I did kind of forget that that whole system's out. I
know,
was thinking
I
of old Zelda games. Old.
I guess this is nostalgia for me, but still, like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are just so good.
I
like
played
this-
the remakes of them on 3DS.
Oh, you didn't play the?
I did not play the
thing?
originals.
Oh, see, I had the originals as soon as
I
they
didn't
came
have
out.
the N64.
Yeah.
Oh, you.
So that to me, like,
I had an SNES, and then I had a Game Boy
you would-
Advance SP, and a GameCube.
Okay.
I like skipped a whole generation.
oh man.
Yeah.
Oh no.
No, but
no
you know,
Crystal
you had that
Shards, no
gold,
Diddy
you had
Kong
that gold
Racing.
I went back and
cartridge.
played it. I went back and played Crystal. Yeah, the cartridges for the N64.
Yeah,
What?
you just had that. You had that gold cartridge for the N64.
I-
It was such a. just
I am
when you put
strongly
that thing-
considering buying an actual 64 for my game room now. Like,
Yeah, I got one. I need to hook it up. I got one sitting.
you
problem
gotta find a
with being
TV
an
that's
adult with
compatible
adult
with
money.
component cables.
Oh, you can get an adapter for
Yeah,
component
yeah.
to HDMI. So you know
Yeah,
you're
true.
good there.
You can make it work.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
game room is starting to flesh itself out. So I'm
Very
thinking
nice.
of getting a third TV so we can put it up here. It'll be good.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, best. Like I don't know what something about those games.
Yeah,
Now,
no,
I don't know if I go back and play them now. I
They're-
don't know if I'd feel the same.
They haven't aged as
but-
well. Just anything on the 64 actually hasn't aged as well, just because of the
That's
single
true.
joystick issue. Like,
Yeah.
it was the first
believe
console to really do 3D world exploration. Like the PS1 shortly followed, but like.
But there were
Anything
so
where you
many
have to
good-
move the camera and without a second stick, it's rough. Like I tried to play GoldenEye, it's
Oh.
not a good time.
Oh god,
Oh, no,
Golden-
I can
or
imagine that.
and Perfect Dark. I tried to play Perfect Dark once too, and like
Yeah.
I was like, how in the world do we snipe people in this game? Because like you zoom in, and it's still just you just see like blocks. Like it's not even like, and we thought that was like the most realistic looking things back in the day. But another game, I will say, while we're talking about N64, Diddy Kong Racing.
Yes.
If you want to talk about one of the
Sure.
greatest games,
Why have they not? I know that Rare did it. I don't care. Nintendo has rights
So-
to everything that isn't named Conquer.
I
and
watched
maybe
the whole
Banjo. Just do it.
I watched a whole documentary on why we don't have one, and it's like there was a lot
Really?
of reasons why we don't have one.
They made a really bad DS port of it at one
Yes,
point.
really bad. They made I think they made 2 DS port or tried to. There was a lot of failed attempts at making another one, but the first Diddy Kong Racing was such a perfect game.
Imagine Mario Kart, but you can have just planes. And not
Or hovercraft.
Yeah.
That's
The
cool.
hovercrafts were one thing. That was cool because you
And
were
the
in the water.
story, the story was so good.
There was
think
I
I may
mean,
have
I
played
don't know if the
You
story
had-
itself was good, but the story mode was good. There was a
Yeah,
real
you
campaign
had
and a
boss,
racing
you had
game.
boss battles like
Yeah.
that were legit, like actually like fit with a racing game. Like just imagine, like I don't know how you can imagine a boss battle in a racing game, but it worked so good.
Like Mario Kart has like you fly off. I love Mario Kart for what it's worth. It's like, but like you fly off a ramp and then get a glider. No, screw that. You have an actual plane. You can actually fly, and depending on the
like, a
vehicle
full-
you
like,
choose, you
full-
take different shortcuts through the map. Because there would be like a tunnel in the ceiling of a mountain somewhere, and if you were in a plane, you can go through.
Oh,
it. If
it-
you were in a car,
yeah, it
you could go a little
changed- it-
faster,
yeah.
but you wouldn't.
It like depending on your vehicle changed the whole map, like
Yeah.
the whole race.
That was pretty neat.
Yeah, on the
They should
64
bring it
on
back.
in 32 megs of RAM.
Yeah, I learned
I
some
didn't
cool
know it
stuff
had that
about
little
that.
RAM.
I learned
That
some cool
hurts.
stuff about that game. So you were talking about.
You needed an extra little memory expansion so you could play Donkey Kong 64.
Yep.
I can't believe how far technology has come. As I hold up my cell phone,
And I had more fun
Yeah.
on the 64 than I did in any smartphone game still. So
Yep. Well, it's
Kart
like you were talking.
Rider Drift. Play it. It's worth it. It's fun.
Kart Rider Drift.
Yes, it plays really well on mobile.
okay. I have a hard time giving a chance to literally any mobile game today, but
Yeah, true. Same here.
that's probably me
Mobile
being a
games are
boomer.
just like
To be
they're so
fair,
hard to get into.
I play that game on my phone, and then I play it on my Steam Deck, and it feels the same. It's great.
nice. Yeah, I played Unite until well, that was a cash grab in the end too. So
Yeah, Unite is.
Yeah, United.
do we want to wrap this
I'm
thing
also
up?
not
I
a mobile
think.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was really good Zelda conversation we had.
That was. We should have more of these. Like just
Well, don't worry. Don't you worry. When Tears of the Kingdom comes out, we'll have a full.
we are going to rebrand. A full-fledged rebrand.
Well, I mean, we were never branded as Pokemon to begin with, so it kind of works out.
Yeah, we're another video game podcast. So
Yeah,
dare
we're just
I
gonna
even
get
ask for your guys' another video game for this week. Have you
nothing
played
new.
anything, Sheldon? Yeah, you've been.
Nothing.
Oh,
yeah,
I've been-
no, not really.
Oh,
Okay.
Street Fighter demo, Street Fighter 6.
Ooh, is that out?
Next
Ooh,
month.
demo?
There's a demo. You only play these two characters in the demo, but
Sure.
it feels so good. I actually genuinely hate Street Fighter most of the time, but I was like,
Really?
but the pacing is so. It's at least Street Fighter 5 was just very, very slow. Like it felt like playing in molasses. This is so responsive. Like you press a button and it happens within milliseconds. Like it is such a fun looking game, and every character they've shown a trailer of looks amazing. I'm getting ready for it. It's gonna be good.
That's pretty cool. Because I know you're a big fighting game. Is your other,
Yeah, I usually
other
play.
genre.
I usually play anime fighters. Like it's big into Dragon Ball Fighters and Guilty
Oh,
Gear.
Yeah.
But so like Western fighters are usually slower and kind of like
Mm-hmm.
you don't have as. I feel like you don't have as much control over your character, but they really did a good job with Street Fighter 6. It looks so good. So hoping and stick
Nice.
to it.
I haven't
I
played
played-
Street Fighter, like Street Fighter 2 Turbo or something. You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I'm not old school enough for that. Like those games were there, and I just didn't care to.
I used to
grind them
get
back then.
I used to have blisters from
Oh my
on my
gosh.
fingers from playing those games. Like you sliding your finger around a D-pad. Like
Yeah.
I would have
Oh,
legit
sure, yeah,
blisters.
Yeah, I may get an arcade stick, but I have a custom
Hey, if
PS4
you-
controller with like each the D-pads are not connected.
Oh,
Each
that's-
one is a separate button,
That's convenient.
so that when you roll your thumb around for different commands, then it won't like accidentally press one of the wrong ones.
Yeah.
That was actually my least favorite thing about playing Breath of the Wild on the Pro Controller is that I would so often like use the D-pad to like change weapons or runes or whatever, and then I'd hit something else. I'm like, no, I didn't want that. I wanted like to me is always like because it's a connected D-pad or whatever. I always had that issue
Yeah,
a lot, and I noticed in most
it
of my
doesn't
games
really matter for most single player games, but for this, it's like you're on the
Sure, yeah.
order of like
Yeah.
fractions of a second to beat out someone else who's also trying really hard. So like,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
more of an annoyance than like breaking potential like winning.
Also,
the
just
game.
like I don't know, having to do like half circle back immediately to forward and press a button like at a split second's notice is hard enough just in a
Yeah.
vacuum.
Sure.
Let
No,
alone
it
when your
is.
controller chooses not.
It's
to.
hard enough just to think of it. You know, sometimes like it has to be full just muscle memory where
Yeah.
you turn your brain off and you just react.
Yeah, I believe that. That's why I don't play fighting games, or at least not seriously. Smash.
Yeah.
The way I play Smash does not count.
Yeah. Okay, smash with items, baby. Let's get some items and throw Pokeballs at each other. And
Yeah, y'all I appreciate y'all letting me play Smash in Charlotte.
Oh, that was something else. My other game is Cult of the Lamb because the DLC came out. Got to play that again. Haven't played that since like summer of last year. Spoilers for the last segment of the show. I streamed it, and then that whole playthrough is a playlist on my YouTube right now. So,
Nice.
I mean, I didn't play the whole thing. It's like 5 hours, not enough to beat the game. But it's fun, and that's a really, really fun game, and very adorable and cute, and entirely irreverent in the best ways. So,
I got a bunch of kids games on my phone that's been played lately because my kid takes my phone from me and plays some like weird like Sims like games and stuff. I don't know.
Make
She's
sure
3
they
years
don't-
old. She's 3 years old and can do all of
So
it. I
don't let her
know-
figure
I
out the
couldn't
cash
imagine.
shop.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
yeah.
Luckily, it needs like my face, you know. So at least there's that.
Daddy, look at this. Cool
Yeah, right.
things. Buy money, buy stuff.
Yeah. $10.99 per day.
That'll be the day.
Guys. All right.
All right. I think that's an episode. I think that is episode 42.
Yeah, I've got 8 minutes to eat my dinner before I get into raids. So
go.
Let's wrap this up.
We have been the Game Corner. You can find all of our stuff down below in the link tree, including our Patreon. If you'd like to support us there, we'd greatly appreciate it. If you have any sort of feedback, questions, thoughts, comments, concerns, you want to talk to us, you want to just send us funny memes or annoy us, our Discord is there as well. Battle Corner is happening, Sheldon, and we'll eventually, probably next week, start putting out details for the next one, if we are so inclined. Rowan, who are you?
I'm Rowan, and you can find my content on YouTube at Rowan Hall. I have just put up my second latest Malamar match against Sierra. You can also find the one against Marcus and the bonus one against Pengi very soon. And I have just pushed the update for my Replay Genie app on Android. You can find replays at any ELO for Regulation C matches, and it will be on iOS soon. I don't want to put a deadline on it, but I have made good progress in like a day already. So hopefully soon.
Ooh, that's
and
very
Sheldon.
exciting. Quick question. Would that be available like on a tablet or something?
Yeah, it should work on anything. It's gonna be simple, but
Anything,
it'll work.
yeah.
Anything iOS, yeah.
Well, no, I meant your the Android version.
Yes, it'll work on an Android tablet as well.
Okay, sweet. I find
Who are
that
you?
somewhere. Oh, hey, I'm Sheldon. Captain_Unova on Twitter, Captain Unova on Twitch, which I haven't been on, but one of these days I'm going to have time to do more stuff.
Tell
I
me
keep
about
saying
it.
that. Just it's a
Grad
just
school's hard.
manifest. It's a manifest and make it happen type of thing. I will manifest it. So we'll see. My stream anniversary came up. Have you gotten an email for that too?
I don't know.
Or I guess I don't know. It's something apparently they'll push you up to the top of the page. So I got to schedule that. So I will
That's
stream.
cool. I didn't get
Yeah.
that. Hold on. Oh wait, I don't check the email. That might be why.
Oh, well, there you go. Check your email.
Yeah, I should. And we have been the Game Corner. No wait, I already said Game Corner stuff. All the stuff down below. I'm Harrison. I didn't say that part.
that guy,
I mixed
that guy.
those up. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube at @row_ixon. Again, all the stuff down below. Just go find us. Go say hi in different places.
Yeah. Send me memes or something. I don't know. Do something silly. I don't care.
And thank you to RobKTA and Game Chops for use of our theme song Goldenrod Game Corner off the Ultraball album. I've really entirely butchered my order for this whole outro, but until next time, press start and game on. Bye.